Hello, everyone. Welcome to Engaged Citizens of Columbia County. I'm Sherry Ryan. I'm your host, and I am so excited, you guys. I'm down at the state capitol. I am going live with State Senator Suzanne Weber. I'm in her office, and we're going to just chat. We're going to ask her some questions, and then we're going to just give her info of how to contact her and such. But here we go, everybody. Welcome, and let's switch it around here to Suzanne.
Hi there.
Hi, Suzanne Weber, State Senator. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to your constituents, meet with people that want to learn about this process and about you and what you do at the Capitol and your role as the state senator. So
thank you for doing this.
Yes,
this is really nice. It's really nice to see you again. And
yes, because you came to our forum that we held for candidates during the primaries. And it was such a lovely event to have like that nonpartisan, representation where everybody was there. It was very pleasant. It was very cordial and respectful. And that is really what we're about, right?
That's what's really important. It's how you relate to other people in a really fair and impartial way. Because you're not going to, you have to realize that at some point in your time, you're not going to get your way every time.
For sure,
and
right?
just because you're loud doesn't mean you're going to get your way either. There's a lot of finesse to being able to make sure that you get what you want in the best way possible for the most amount of people that you can, really.
Such wisdom. Thank you for sharing that. So, Senator Weber, what does a state senator do?
Well, I go to a lot of meetings. I meet with a lot of people, both constituents and lobbyists and other senators and other representatives. My days are full. I arrive here at about sometimes 7:15 in the morning. I've got one day every 2 weeks where I've got a 7 o'clock in the morning meeting, so I have to be here at ready to go by 7. But I have committee meetings. There's one committee that meets every morning, and it's the Ways and Means Education, and that's at 8 o'clock. And then, if we're on the floor, we have a caucus of the Republican Senate group at 10 o'clock. Then we go to the floor at 11, and then it's been about an hour and a half that we've been spending on the floor. And then we come back to our offices and meet with constituents. Usually we have so many people coming through here that we keep our meeting times to about 15 minutes apiece. Okay. And so a lot of them are virtual. But the really nice thing is that we're able to meet with people in person. And I hear things that I agree with, and I hear things that I don't agree with. But I need to listen. I need to be a part of all of that. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, on 4 days a week, I have another committee meeting. On 2 days, it's human services. And on the other 2 days, it's education. And I have one other committee assignment, and that's conduct. But we haven't had any conduct issues currently, so we haven't been doing that. And then after that, it's usually meetings that are like Coastal Caucus. The Coastal Caucus is a very important group. It represents all of the legislators, senators, and representatives up and down the coast. And we meet especially to deal with things that are pertinent to the coast, to make sure that the coast is included in decisions. And we meet every Thursday. And so we have a lot of people come in and talk to us about issues, especially that are impacting the coast. Whether it's wind or waves or riprap or fish or additional opportunities for ports or things like that. we talk about all those things, crab, fish, how that's all impacting the coast. And we're also very active in letting our leaders know how their decisions are impacting us on the coast, because we are also a rural entity, and most of our state is controlled by what happens in the Willamette Valley. And so we need to make sure that we on the coast are being heard. And that's what our concerted effort, whether it's Republican or Democrat, that's the aim of the group.
That's great. Oh my
And,
goodness.
and then we have things like, the wheat growers or the people from the gorge. And so, after that, there's a lot of things that happen in the evening to be able to connect with people, talk with people, get to know people and their situations. Because I'm not only making decisions about what happens on the coast, there's a whole state that is bringing all of their concerns also. And at some point in time, I may have to vote on those things, and so I need to be educated on it. I do lots and lots of reading.
I bet.
And lots of checking on, circumstances that may relate to some of the bills that have come up. There's probably close to 4,000 bills.
Wow.
And right now, the 17th is probably the deadline. And so if anybody's got any kind of a bill that they want to be introduced, it's got to be done by the 17th.
Okay. Of this month, February 17th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because, we're going into June. This is 160 days.
Yes,
is
the long
this
session.
This is the long session. And so there's a lot that has to be done.
Yeah.
That, all of the bills that, are pertaining to all these things have all been divided out
Okay.
into the different committees. So the committees know what they have to consider.
Okay.
And so when something comes to a committee, there's two ways this goes. First of all, it has a public hearing, so that if people want to testify, they can give the information on the bill and how it's going to impact them. And then after, maybe some amendments have happened, maybe there are some decisions that are made concerning the bill. Then it goes to a work session, and once it goes to a work session and it passes out of that, then it goes to the floor to be voted on by the whole Senate.
Okay.
Well, of course, if it's passed by the Senate, then it goes to the House.
Okay.
And then they decide on it. Just like if it's happening in the House, they have their public hearings and their work sessions, and then they decide whether it's going to come to the floor, they vote on it, and then it goes to the Senate for them to do.
Okay.
So it's bicameral in that both groups have to okay each of the bills.
Yeah. Wow.
And the bills, the Senate bills, are all divvied out by the Senate President in his office as to what committee they go to. And the same thing happens in the House. The Speaker and his office divvies out the bills into what committees they go to.
Okay. Because what committees do you sit on?
I sit on, I'm the Vice Chair of Education, Human Services, and Education, Ways and Means, which is a joint committee of both the Senate and the House.
Okay. What does Ways and Means mean?
Money.
Money.
Show me the money.
Okay.
If you, they're the people that make the decision about the state budget. And there are several Ways and Means committees that, on what, if it impacts housing and, all of these things. Because now in the Ways and Means Committee, we have been having reports from all of the agencies that are going to be asking for additional money, whether it's in the governor's budget or not. because they may need, because of inflation, additional money to be able to run the agency. So we get a full report on what the agency does, and then, you know, how they're spending their money, their challenges and their pluses and what they need extra. And so today it was, yesterday it was the chiropractors. Today it was social workers. And so you learn about their licensing process, how they make the money that sustains the agency. And then probably within another week or so, we're going to start looking at the governor's budget. And that we will probably take, I've been told, maybe 5 or 6 weeks to go through the governor's budget from the educational standpoint to see how it's going to work.
Yeah, how it's going to be divvied.
Yes.
Basically, this is a big deal. Weighty decisions.
Very weighty
our
decisions.
Children, for our our
Right.
loved ones. Yeah. Wow.
And this gives us a really good opportunity to ask questions about what happens in the agencies also. You know, like when they get complaints, they have to have investigators. You know, how long does it take for them to investigate a claim? What happens as a result of it? You know, their fines. Are you working with other states for compacts so that you can, if you have a problem recruiting people? All of those things. Are you? We have a immigrant population. So, how is your agency working with the immigrant population, especially those that have been trained in the specific areas that you are in control of?
Yeah.
Like medical imaging. I mean, it's the whole gamut: chiropractic, naturopath, medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is someone appointed to a committee? What is that? How's that determined?
Well, on the Senate side, the committee appointments are made by the Senate President, Rob Wagner.
Okay.
And he and I sat down and talked about things that were important to me and what committees I would like to be on. Well, I had about 6 or 7 of them that I think are really important, transportation, agriculture, energy, housing. But my passion has been education because I spent so many years in education that he assigned me to that. I was also on the health committee in the House, and so that I believe is the reason that he assigned me to human services.
So it's kind of like to do with your passions, possibly your experience.
Right.
The things that, possibly put you into the political realm in the first place.
Right.
Right? The things that you are concerned about and want to see difference or want to be a part of. Right?
Exactly.
So this has been so educational just listening to you and the process and how these things, I love it.
Yeah, and you know what? You all have an opportunity to be involved in all of this.
Yeah.
Because we have so many opportunities for people to be aware through the Oregon Legislative Information System, OLIS, to find out what the committees are doing, what bills they are considering. You can find out what every bill is in every committee. If there's a bill that is important to you, you have an opportunity to be able to sign up to testify. And you can do it virtually or you can do it in person. And I know last week we had 2 meetings that each went about 3 hours long. Usually our committee meetings are about an hour and a half. And they used to be a lot longer, but because of the construction in the building right now, it's kind of been, cut back a little bit because the space for hearings has been limited.
Okay.
So we had 2 3-hour meetings, and it was because people were interested and they had opinions and they wanted the committees to know what those opinions were.
So a lot of people signed up to speak and give
Yes.
testimony. That's
A lot of
great.
people.
That is so great to
And
hear.
yes, a lot of times you only have 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of being able to testify virtually. is you don't have to travel to do it.
Yeah.
But still, by coming into the building, you learn so much about how things happen in here.
I
That
agree.
it's, and you know, we can never plead ignorance or plead that something has happened to us if we do not get involved and if we do not find out what is happening to us and take a stand and make sure our opinions are heard.
Preach it, Senator Weber, because that is exactly what Engaged Citizens is. It is being involved, it is being engaged with the civic matters that are affecting our lives and our loved ones.
Yes.
It is, you know, like I always say on our group, if you're upset about something, let somebody know. Let someone know that can make a decision and help you with that.
I've
right?
always felt that if you didn't do your due diligence to find out what the true circumstances were, then you had no reason to complain.
Agreed. Thank you for saying that. And I'm going to post what the best way for people to get a hold of you, engage with you, talk to you,
Yes.
meet with you here in Salem or meet with you on Zoom, you know, all the various ways to reach you and to engage with you. So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us, explain things, educate us, and engage with us.
Yes, and I want people to know that I can't be right now with 4,000 bills out there.
Yeah.
I can't be extremely knowledgeable on every single one of them.
Yes.
As they come to the committees, if they come to the committees, because
Yes.
that's also something that needs to be taken into consideration, then it will be dealt with.
Yes. Yes.
And so, you know, whether it's semiconductors in North Plains, whether it's crab on the Oregon coast, whether it's a city hall in Rainier or Clatskanie, or a sewer or water project, you know, that all of that, when it is on the forefront in the committees out there, we'll let you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it will be dealt with.
Perfect. Perfect. And by being in touch with you and being engaged on that OLIS website, is what I am told is
Yes.
the best way to know when these things are happening. So thank you so much for
You can
joining
watch
us.
you can watch any of the committee meetings on
Yeah,
all this.
on OLIS. It's all there, right?
Yeah.
And see what's
And
going on.
I really want to apologize. You know, I'm the kind of person who, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it wholeheartedly. And so sometimes some things have to fall by the wayside. And one of those is if I'm here for this 160 days, I'm not at every social and meeting in district. And I want to apologize for that because I think it's very important that I'm also really connected with people.
Yeah.
But that's another reason why it's really important for people to connect with me.
Yes, yes. You can't be in 500 places at once, right? I've seen your website. I've seen your government website, and it shows like what you're up to and such. And I saw you out at the coast recently, and then meeting with some of the mayors and just different things that you're doing, events. And so, but when you're here, the best way to reach you is to get a hold of you.
Right,
here.
right.
Right. Oh, well, thank you so much, Senator. And you have just a wonderful week and rest of your day. And thank you so much for taking your time to be with us.
Thank you for being here. Come again.